Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Best Family Homestead. And today we are inside the old place. Haven't been in here much yet with the GoPro. So this is just the living room and a little bit dusty, as always, you know, needs to be cleaned up. Trying to find time for all that. Victor is enjoying his new place, and Victor, I think, was the dog, just the name of the dog on the cover. Going back a little bit to one of my previous videos, I'd forgotten about this. Someone mentioned it on a video. My dad mentioned it too. The actual dog's name was Nipper, and he was a dog from England, and he was the model, you could say, for the picture of Victor. But I think he still looks pretty good right there. Getting cold out. I know some people are a lot colder than we are. It's actually like 75, 80 today. Pretty warm. Been getting down in the 50s at night. However, on Tuesday night, Wednesday night, something like that. Anyway, this week it's supposed to be getting down to low 30s. So, gotta take out our AC, give us a chance to clean our windows. And since it's just me living here now, big old house, all the central AC stuff doesn't work. It was put in years ago, and before we even moved in, like all the ductwork just rotted. Like there's literally nothing there, and the actual unit itself blew up. So we haven't used that in a long time. But instead of spending all the money on gas and our little gas monitor that goes in the fireplace, we are going to check out the fireplace. Haven't really been able to run it. Having a couple people around here that had breathing problems. Now it's just me. So we are going to inspect and check out our fireplace, make sure everything's good to go. All right, first thing we need here, I've got my mess of charging cords, charging all kinds of stuff, and got my headlamp. So one of the first things, you can see how clean the rock is. I think maybe 6 years ago or so I had tried to start a fire. I don't remember, but one of the first things we're going to check, let me get this camera up here so you guys can see it. All right, there we go. All right, so this is the damper. This is the flue. You can see it. If you want to close the flue up, you know, it says here, I think it's supposed to have a bolt. Yeah, it looks like I'll have to replace a bolt real quick. It's not really, there it goes. Yeah, there's a bolt that needs to go right there that will hold this in place. That's honestly for just using the fireplace, since it's not a like a closed up wood stove that's really efficient. It doesn't really matter that the damper won't close all the way. That is definitely good enough. You can see that, I can feel the air drawing. So I know it's going to draw. You can see all the nasty old cobwebs and stuff we're going to sweep out before we get started. They're moving because with that fan on, I can feel the air being pulled up into the chimney, so that's good. But for the most part, I will have the flue open like this, or the damper open like that. I'm sorry. So I think you have to be able to see. It doesn't look as bad as I thought. You can see just a couple cobwebs, nothing to be horribly worried about. And on the sides, you can see the concrete flue liner. You can see that's not rock. So what I'm looking for is to make sure that the flue liner is in good shape, making sure I don't see any cracks. I don't see any cracks. And the flue liner goes all the way up. All I see is like the flue liner goes all the way up. Well, that's good. That's really good. All right. And if you ever want to start a fire in an old house like this, an old chimney, you always want to check and make sure that there is a flue liner. And all a flue liner is, like with the rock here, if you could see rock in the fireplace, especially on an old chimney, I wouldn't recommend using it. When it was new, all the mortar in between all the rocks, you know, was in really good shape so that there weren't any exposed cracks. This house being almost 200 years old, a lot of that chink and mortar could have fallen out, leaving a place for heat to, a hot spot for heat and possibly flame to get out, catch anything on the other side of the chimney on fire. Not a good idea. I also know, I wanted to take a look at it. I also know that the concrete flue liner that's in there, I know it was done in the 90s from the previous, not the owners before the previous owners. So I know it's a recent addition. It's not a 200-year-old flue liner or anything. So, you know, if I think I'll ever use it a whole lot more or end up staying here in an old house, I would put a stainless steel flue liner in it, which would not be fun or cheap, but I know that's a newer concrete flue liner. So, a couple other things we gotta take care of. We're gonna go outside and I wanna show you guys some other things about checking the chimney. And then the fun part, you know, I've burned a whole lot of wood that I probably shouldn't have, and now looking back I'm like, oh man. But I've got quite a bit still around here, definitely, and there's even more over at Robert. So I can go to the old bird farm and pull some logs over there, pecan and oak, and I've got quite a few logs here. I gotta bust that down into firewood. All right, well, let's head outside. Okay, so we're outside now, and I was getting the ladder to bring over here to go up top and look down the chimney, and I don't see a lot of them right now. You guys probably can't see them, but there's a bunch of hornets up there. Definitely not getting on a ladder next to the chimney or up on the roof with those hornets. I saw one of them in the house today, and I think that they're European hornets, which aren't native to the United States. They're not the big killer hornets, but they are still pretty good size, kind of yellow and red. And from my understanding, they were introduced from Europe a couple hundred years ago, you know, with just coming over in boats and stuff that they brought over from Europe. They do hurt like a son of a gun. I have been stung by them, and from the way there's a bunch of them buzzing around, looking up, I can't see the nest, and I can't see it from out here. So I think that they're just now maybe building it, looking for somewhere to build a nest to hide out for the winter and hibernate. Luckily, building a little fire is going to smoke them out, literally. So, and you can see how thick this chimney is. Originally, on the other side, there is a clean out that there would have been a hole in the bottom of the chimney where you could open and the coals would fall all the way through. That has been filled with concrete. So I'm gonna have to go older school, as funny as that may seem. And just, I've got a metal bucket I'm gonna take in there and a little metal shovel, clean everything out. And we'll go back in here for a second. The other thing I've got that I didn't build, I wish I had, to make sure the fire will burn, you know, all the way out and I won't have full logs laying there, is some log holders. You can see those log holders are just railroad iron with a big piece of metal. Railroad track. Boy, are they heavy. But they'll work. And I don't have to build or buy anything. So the last piece of the puzzle now is going to be wood. Taking and sweeping the cobwebs out right here, where the actual flame will be, and making a little test fire to make sure the chimney is going to draw good, and I don't have to worry about the house filling up with smoke too bad. Oh, and take the AC out. Yeah, might as well get started on some of this. So I had an idea. You can probably see all the dust, especially when I started sweeping that out. I've been using my shop vac as a turbocharger for the burn barrel. Obviously can't use it for the fire in here. But what I think I am going to do is put it right here. And turn it on blowing up the chimney. That should pull a lot of the dust here, basically make a big dust extractor, and with any luck pull all the dust up top. Worth a shot, can't hurt anything. Seems to be working. I can see the dust going into the vacuum, and since that chimney seems to draw pretty hard anyway, it should all be shooting straight up. I'm gonna see how irritated I just made a bunch of hornets. Surprisingly, I don't see them at all now. With any luck, they were just looking for a place to build, and maybe with the air going up through the vacuum cleaner and blowing up the chimney, and since I opened up the damper, because I did have insulation up in there, you know, to keep the air from drawing for over the years. So since I took all that out, air is actually drawing up the chimney, which is probably what maybe stirred them up, and hopefully they moved on. I only see one or two. Well, that solves one of my problems until they go and build in an even worse place. I'm actually pretty impressed with my experiment there. There is some dust floating around right now, but it's from when I just carried this wood in. When I first walked in, all the dust that had been floating around was gone. Who knew? Well, now I know to keep the shop vac somewhere handy, and when I get ready to clean and dust, go ahead and hook the shop vac up blowing, and so when I sweep the floor and do all the cleaning, instead of just going up in the air and settling, it'll go back up the chimney. Gives me an idea now for a dust evacuator for the house. But shop's gotta get cleaned first. And one of the great conundrums of having rescue dogs. Yes, that was Copper and Mimi. And But I did get this couch for free, just like the one before this. You learn the hard way, which we did about 10 years ago. When you work with rescue dogs, you have a lot of them, you don't spend money on the couch because it's going to get destroyed at some point. So I just get them on Craigslist or Facebook. All right, so I'm gonna get back up under here and take another look in just a second. First, I need to, there we go. That actually did a really good job of cleaning up the, blowing a lot of the dust out of there. It was pulling really hard. I mean, you can see the dust, you know, from across the room just heading towards the chimney. And you can still see it kind of doing that right now. So what I did was I went to some of my scrap pile and I got some little stuff and just a couple little logs here. I'll probably only use a couple of them because I want to start a fire, and while the sun's coming at this angle I can really see any smoke and stuff inside, and play with some configurations with windows, doors, because there'll be a combination. Even though this old house is drafty, there'll be a combination that will cause a chimney to pull the best to minimize the smoke in the house. Just one of those things you gotta learn about an old house. You know, crack this window, open that door, close that door, and your chimney's gonna draw a lot better. So I'm going to get started on building this little fire and we'll see what happens. All right, you can see, yeah, the GoPro's big enough. That's not bad. You can see that drawing the smoke pretty well. Yeah, it's drawing. Now I did, like I said, it's a little bit smoky in here. These windows were open and just cracked a little bit, so it was trying to draw smoke out of the smaller cracks in the windows. It's, you know, it's going to go from low pressure to high pressure. Yeah, so like a big opening is going to draw through a smaller opening. So since I had a smaller opening than my flue there, it was pulling it out of the chimney and trying to go that way. And I'm going to have to get some glass. I have fixed that once and then Mimi got it again. So now we're starting to get somewhere. And I'm going to keep playing with opening a couple of other doors and whatnot here. All right. Okay, so I opened the kitchen door and you can see now the smoke is starting to come back in the room. All right, I closed the kitchen door and now a little bit of that smoke that's boiling around is actually starting to pull back towards the chimney. I've got one more trick I'm gonna try real quick. Cool. you probably caught that on camera. When the flames started going over and up, all I did was I took a fan up to my daughter's room and pointed it down the stairs. That's going to do two things. One, the heat rises and her room always gets hot no matter what. So that's going to blow any hot air upstairs back down here. Plus that air blowing down is now going to help this draw much better and actually go the right way. That's actually doing a lot better now. I think most of the smoke will be gone here in a minute, especially since everything I've got to cut is very dry. There won't be much smoke, so I think it's going to work. And if you'll see my little stop there, yes, that is what you think it is. That is a Jeep bumper, and that is just in case at the moment, in case any logs roll, which I don't have anything that big in there right now, but just a safety precaution. One thing is I am going to have to do before Tuesday night when I build a fire, actually, to try and warm it up in here, is build a fire screen. And I've got some ideas and stuff to do it. So break out the welder. It won't take but a couple minutes. I just got to get some metal mesh for the front, and then I'll make a little fire screen to go all the way across, just to keep any pops or anything. You can see, who knows how old a lot of these pop marks where embers have hit the wood. Really old. So we're going to go outside now and see how it's drawn. Well, it's such a little fire right now, and it's not really smoking. Yeah, you can see it. You can see just a little puff of smoke. That's kind of a pleasant sight. That is that'll warm the old house up a little bit, and I don't know, there's just something about smoke coming out of an old chimney that makes it seem a lot homier. I like it. Well, guess I will start rounding up a little bit more wood, just because tonight, so I've got it working. I'll sit there and let it go a little bit, see how it works. I'll probably end up running me out of the house, and yeah, you can definitely see the flames blowing or pulling up. So, you know, I can feel the heat here. It's going to definitely warm this room. Definitely warm this room. And I've got another fireplace if I need to go into the living room. I'll do the same thing. I'll give you an update on that. They're supposed to both have good flue liners, but I'll still inspect that one. And so if I need to heat in there, build a fire in there. And especially with all the doors closed and the fan blowing the heat from upstairs down here, really this room, even with just a little fire like this room is going to stay nice and toasty all winter. But yeah, definitely doing its job. All right, everybody. Well, I will get back to you tonight, because that is one thing I'm really kind of looking forward to, is seeing this room lit up with nothing but a fire at night. So I'll see you guys in a few hours. And the smoke is pretty much cleared. I'm impressed. Like, you can see the light coming through. There's all the smoke's going up the chimney. Any fireplace, you're gonna get some smoke in the house if it's just an open fireplace. But I just made a little bit more work for myself as far as wood, but I've got plenty, so save some money. See y'all in a few hours.